This week on Alaska's Fishing Paradise, we'll get a taste of what's offered for both fishing and non-fishing enthusiasts at Whalers Cove Lodge. Couples take on saltwater and freshwater species, and generations grow together through adventure. Then we'll catch up with the family from Texas that are after wild salmon and trout. Alaska's Fishing Paradise is brought to you by Blue Goo. Eliminate fog and static. Safe for all plastics and lenses. The Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, ensuring the future of wildlife and their habitat. And Whalers Cove, Wilderness and Sports Fishing Lodge. It's Wednesday at Whalers Cove Lodge. Two couples from the Midwest head out for a great day on the water. John and Sandy Henkel from Upper Michigan frequent Whalers Cove in search of adventure. Joining them is a couple from Kansas, Mike and Catherine Holden, who hold careers in education. Guiding the group today is Captain Andy Schultz.
We'll go out to Parker Point, catch some salmon, get into the salmon bite. In the afternoon, we'll head a little further north, go to Fisheries Creek. It's a little bit of a run. We'll get you guys all on some really good halibut. I want to see everyone catch some good fish and get worn out, like I said earlier.
Captain Andy sets off with a short ride to Danger Point. Gathering bait is first on the agenda. With herring in abundance, Captain Andy unhooks another saltwater treat.
Around here, they're called needlefish or candlefish. And they were called candlefish because you can literally dry them out and light them on fire and they'll burn like a candle.
Oh my goodness.
So oily. Right down to 25.
As they finish pulling in today's bait, they find another Whalers Cove group having success.
A great day. We're knocking the herring over here.
Captain Andy switches gears and starts to rig for salmon.
We'll let the ladies play the surface and we'll get the gentlemen down a little deeper. Here we go.
The downriggers are set, and it doesn't take long before John's rod tip jumps.
Silver!
Silver.
Cute little bugger, but that's a keeper. First one of the day. Yep, silver.
Catherine follows with a fish in shallower waters.
Come on, baby. Yeah!
Yeah.
There you go. All right.
All right.
Pink salmon.
Yay.
Trolling at 75 feet, Mike's rod tip springs to attention, and it's fish on.
Oh yeah, nice fish.
Yes.
Fish in the boat.
Nice job.
Nice humpy salmon.
The bite slows, so they move to another spot on their way to Parker Point. With line set, the anglers sit back, wait, and even listen to some tunes. With seals nearby, the lines start coming up empty. They switch gears and decide to go after halibut.
Bite's a little slow at Parker Point. We're gonna head on north to Fisheries Cove, try to find some nice halibut for these guys. You wanna put on enough bait to convince them that it's edible, but not too much so it covers up the hook.
The depths here reach 260 feet, and Catherine's arms are tested yet again.
Fish on? Oh yeah. This isn't exactly like the we'll be working for it for a little while today. Second of the day for you. Nice keeper halibut. Beautiful halibut, beautiful fish.
Our husband and wife duo from Michigan find themselves hooked up at the same time.
Okay, reel up.
Little did they know they were on the same fish. Sandy hooked John's line as he fought the great Alaskan halibut.
It was on his line, so he gets credit for it. So I have to get a bigger one now, just to show him up. So.
Coming up on Alaska's fishing paradise, the outing continues en route to Parker Point. A feeding frenzy ensues as the couple set the hook on a variety of Alaskan beauties. John and Sandy also face fish measurements, counting every last inch. Stay tuned for more great fishing action when we return. Welcome back to Alaska's fishing paradise. Before we jump back into the action, let's join Captain Andy Schultz on this week's segment of Straight Talk.
Rockfish are one of the longest living vertebrates, growing up to 100 years old in the case of yelloweye, and some short rakers growing up to 150 years, having been around when Alaska was purchased in 1867. For this reason, we want to continue to preserve the species. Rockfish are very easily outfished and overfished because they're territorial, and they're easily caught along rocks, boulders, and very easily targeted for that reason. So what we've came up with, along with the Alaska Department of Fish and Game, is the rockfish release mechanism. To use this mechanism, it's very simple. You just take some regular fishing line, a regular J hook that you've crimped the barb off of, and a lead ball. To use the rockfish release mechanism, insert the hook into the fleshy lower jaw of the fish, set it back down to the depth you caught it at. When you get it back to that depth, you set the hook, releasing the fish so it can swim away, thus preserving the rockfish in that area and not overfishing or killing needlessly. Well, from Captain Andrew and all the Whalers Cove staff, this is your week's Straight Talk.
After a great morning chasing salmon along Danger Point, the couples are now after halibut, jigging in 250 feet of water.
I think I hit the bottom and got bit.
This time, Whalers Cove guest Mike Holen is first to strike with a delicious Alaskan cod.
Oh, beautiful fish.
As John works the bottom, he finds a fish that decides to take his bait.
Look at this beautiful fish. This is just a goldfish that you flushed down the toilet in the UP of Michigan, and it made its way here and got big. Running, 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 running. Whoa, whoa, woo!
Sandy hangs with the guys as she starts to fight what seems to be a great fish.
You're doing great. It hit that thing and just gone.
The fish tests Sandy as it fights to stay on the bottom. John helps as Sandy reels with her forearms burning.
Here we go, up.
Pure brute force on the fish part and ours.
This massive fish is not under the slot minimum of 45 inches. So Captain Andy is forced to throw the female halibut back.
65-pound fish. Ugh. Ah, I'm so sorry. She's in the hot seat again.
Undeterred, Sandy hooks up again, hoping for a legal fish.
We finally got one we can keep.
One I can keep. This is good.
Too big, too big, too big. Perfect eater.
As Captain Andy and Sandy celebrate the legal halibut, Mike finds his reel with a fish running on the other end.
Taking some line, huh?
A lot. Trouble with having fishing be too good, you never get a rest.
Keep on walking. You're doing great. Rock this way. Got tip this way. Woo! Oh.
But like
Literally
Sandy's
48
first
inches.
catch, Mike's 50-inch
right
halibut
there.
is just too long.
60-pound halibut. 300,000 eggs. You're letting it go. You're letting it grow, baby. That's what it takes. Catch and release.
We did it.
We saved, between the two of us, was that 700,000 eggs?
Yeah, the world should thank us.
All right, they
You
should.
bet.
Mike lands another double, which allows Captain Andy to use his rockfish release mechanism.
We can only keep one of these, and I'm going to use my rockfish release mechanism on the other one. I'm going to be taking him down. Takes him down to the depth he was caught at. He's taking line out. Now I'm gonna close my bail. I set the hook. Rockfish released.
Humpback whales parade by the boat as they pull anchor and begin to head toward black cod feeding grounds.
Here you are out fishing, you just released a halibut that was too big to keep. Then you get 50 feet away from a whole group of humpbacks. That's incredible.
Because the black cod, they eat rockfish.
At depths
as well as
over
big halibut.
600 feet, they break out the electronic reels to assist in the lengthy retrieves. Mike's Alaskan cod ends the day of great fishing for the Midwest crew as they pack up and head back to Whalers Cove Lodge. Coming up on Alaska's Fishing Paradise, we'll strap on the waders with a family from Texas. It's off to the Hasselberg River in pursuit of wild salmon and trout. Laughter abounds as they experience what Alaska fishing is all about. Welcome back. It's day 4 at Whalers Cove for Dustin and Jessica Miller, who are joined today by Dustin's parents, Jim and April. The family from Texas have experienced some great saltwater fishing this week, but have decided to try their hand at some freshwater species today. The anticipation of the day builds as the couples climb aboard Captain Bob Tardy's boat. Morning skies bring rain, but the anglers are in high spirits as Captain Bob sends them off. The short ride from Whalers Cove Lodge brings them to a shoreline where they grab their tackle and hike to canoes.
Let's go fishing!
The canoes are geared up and life vests strapped on as they hit the water heading to the first spot. A short paddle later, they park the boats, grab their poles, and head out after some salmon and trout. When lines come up empty, Captain Bob wastes little time paddling up to the next spot.
So when we go through here, we're going to kind of stay on the right side of the lake, but it's real shallow, so you can't go too far to the right.
At the next spot, Captain Bob shows them an old Indian fish camp.
You can see the contours in here where they grew potatoes. Yeah, it's got blueberries.
He's joking.
Did you cleanse your palate first?
Now he needs a fine glass of wine.
The short break from fishing leaves the anglers eager to get back, so they continue to the next spot. Dustin is the first one to strike as he fights a fish from the opposite side of the river. With his reel screaming, Dustin is patient and slowly works the fish across the river.
Yeah, he's a nice fish. You gonna net him and we drag him out? Sure.
Captain Bob assists on the net and brings it to shore to celebrate.
Beautiful fish. Good fish.
April finds redemption as her rod bends and she fights an Alaskan salmon. The fish takes out line, but April doesn't give up.
Yay! We got him!
April may have hooked a salmon, but it looks like Dustin is hooked into another species.
Dustin caught himself.
After Dustin's big catch, the fishing slows, so they continue upriver toward the falls. Jim gets in on the action as he reels in a beautiful Dolly Varden trout. The Texans make a move to the falls in hopes of some larger Dolly Varden and silver salmon. Casts are made with no luck at the falls. so Captain Bob hits a few spots on the way back. Jim finds a beautiful Alaskan silver salmon. The day-long fishing action finally wears out the couples, and they decide to head back. On their canoe ride, they run into changing currents that pose a challenge.
Did you see us just staying still?
Upon reaching their destination, gear is unpacked and pictures taken. They pack the boat and head back to the lodge.
Well, you can walk right across it.
And then they got free food.
Yeah, free food.
Coming up on Alaska's Fishing Paradise, we'll change gears as we join a grandmother and her granddaughter on an eco tour. Then they take a relaxing dip in the Baranof Hot Springs that proves to be a treat for all ages. Alaska's Fishing Paradise is brought to you by Blue Goo. Eliminate fog and static. Safe for all plastics and lenses. The Rocky Mountain Elk Foundation, ensuring the future of wildlife and their habitat. And Whalers Cove, Wilderness and Sports Fishing Lodge. Welcome back to Alaska's Fishing Paradise. This morning brings both new and old faces, as Sandy Henkel from Wednesday is accompanied by her granddaughter Taylor on an eco tour. Taylor and Sandy are aboard Captain Bob Tardy's vessel as they navigate up the strait. The plan is to start off with some sightseeing as they head to a grotto. Once geared up, they set off in search of the grotto. The varying terrains, coupled with steep washouts, prove to be quite a challenge. They make their way through thick vegetation and find the grotto. This grotto is a picturesque cave that's been part of the land for thousands of years. Eco tours provide a unique opportunity for anyone to learn and embrace what Alaska has to offer. Back at the boat, they decide to grab a quick bite to eat. With hip boots strapped on, the duo joins Captain Bob on a hike, looking for petroglyphs. They marvel at a site that dates back thousands of years.
Yeah, I think it's an animal.
After finding 2 petroglyphs, they move on to continue their tour. They board the boat and begin the journey back to the lodge.
I think this was an awesome day. I think to spend the day with a granddaughter and 3 guys and walk through the muck and find all kinds of interesting things is pretty cool.
Spirits are high in anticipation of tomorrow's destination. It's Monday and Taylor's last day here at Whalers Cove Lodge. Today, the adventurists are guided by Captain John Luman, who points them up the strait toward the local hot springs. Once docked, they begin the journey up the mountain to their destination. They arrive at the hot springs and are captivated by the glacial falls that run nearby. The pure beauty and the soothing feel of the springs immediately relaxes these adventurers. After the soak, they head back to the boat, where Captain John takes them to the Baranof Fish Hatchery. Once docked, they walk around, viewing the various life stages of the salmon with Hidden Falls Hatchery Manager Adam Olson.
One of the biggest hatcheries in Southeast Alaska. We do 101 million chums, 3.5 million coes, and a little over 500,000 kings now. This hatchery and many others like it in the state is a private nonprofit funded by the fishermen for the fishermen.
After the great tour of the Hidden Falls facility, the family heads out to check crab pots. Here, Whalers Cove guests are able to catch crab during their stay. All hands are on deck as they hook and pull up the crab pots, hoping for some great Alaskan crab. The grandchildren mark their crab and begin the journey back to the lodge with memories that will last a lifetime. As the eco-tourists make their way back, let's see what Chef Jack Wentz has planned for dinner on this week's edition of Chef's Corner.
Welcome to another edition of Chef's Corner. I'm Jack Wentz, and I'll be taking you through crab stuffed mushrooms today. First off, we're going to start with our Dungeness crab, about a cup or so. Then we're going to add some celery, a little bit of onion, and 1 egg. We're going to stir this up a little bit. Now we're going to add the juice of a half a lemon, a little bit of panko breadcrumbs, and a touch of mayonnaise. Again, we want to just mix this stuff. We don't want to beat it up too much. We like to see our big lumps of crab in there. Okay, we want to finish this with a little bit of our house salt, and we're ready to stuff the mushrooms. Today I've chosen a cremini mushroom, and we've lightly blanched it. We just want to make sure we get all that nice crab inside. And that's perfect right there. I like to finish this with a little bit of smoked paprika. Now we want to put this in a 350-degree oven for about 15 minutes. I want to put this on a nice decorative plate. And there we have it, folks. Dungeness crab stuffed mushrooms.
We like you, so like us on our Facebook page. And be sure to visit our website at whalerscovelodge.com.